We are live.
Live. All right. First episode of Your Relationship Sucks. Have, uh, have my expertise here in relationships. Try to help solve some of the world's problems. People out there, starting to struggle with, how do we, how do I manage to, create a happy life and have a partner and have a marriage and have all those things. And obviously, I'm the foremost expert on that. As someone who can't hold a relationship to save his life, I think I'm kind of the perfect person to give that advice. And I'm sure that you will come through with a much more reasonable perspective on some of these things. But no, that's really what this is, right? We're just trying to dive in and trying to say, let's see if we can help some people out, right? That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to help people out. Trying to work towards world peace, right?
World peace. So you think that a single dude has the key to world peace and a successful relationship?
That's correct. Happiness, peace, all the things everybody wants. Yeah, I'm definitely the person to do that.
We're going to find out about that. Today, to start off with you telling us the key to a happy relationship is we're going to a practicalwedding.com and coming up with I thought we'd start off with a wedding. You can just start off strong. The peak of a relationship. So this question is, can I ask my husband to wear lifts at our wedding?
Oh, okay. Wow. That's it. That's the whole question.
No, I'm getting to the question, but I thought I'd give you a moment to respond.
All right. I'm going to reserve my judgment until I hear a little bit more. I'm assuming that we're going to get a little bit more background. Obviously, this is a shorter gentleman, or at least maybe she's a really tall lady, possibly some combination of the two. But I will wait to respond until I get a little bit more background on this.
Okay, I'm sure that you're going to have a lot coming at me immediately.
Okay.
My fiance and I have been together for 3 years. I'm 5'3" and he's about 5'5.5". So he's about my height. We're both short. Height has never been an issue for us. When I wear my usual heels, we're about the same. At most, maybe I'm an inch or so taller. As my bridal gift, my grandma gave me these absolutely beautiful Jimmy Choo high heels to wear to my wedding. I love them, and they are definitely not something I'd be able to afford for myself, so they're a true luxury for me. The only problem is that they make me about 3 to 4 inches taller than my fiance. I have to take a moment because
What?
How tall are these shoes?
What? Hold on. All right. Let's back up for a second here. This woman is 5'3", and she says that her fiance is 5'5.5". So that's a 2.5 inch difference. Now she's saying that her normal shoes make her about an inch taller than him, which would tell me that her normal shoes are about, she's normally rocking like a 4-inch heel, right? Because he's going to be wearing shoes anyways, right? So he's got a half inch on there. So he's 5'6", she's 5'3". If she's got an inch on him, she's got to be at least 5'7", right? So that's a 4-inch heel that she's normally rocking. Now, I don't have anything wrong with a 4-inch heel. I'm assuming they're incredibly uncomfortable. I've actually never worn a pair of heels myself, but they look very painful, right? To walk in, I assume just the steepness of that. I mean, that's an incredible grade that you're talking about, right? So
yeah,
her normal heel is 4 inches. Okay, now he's going to be standing up there, and presumably she's already measured this out, right? Like presumably this guy's already been standing, I guess, next to her while she's been wearing these shoes, so that she could kind of figure it out, right? Which I don't actually know if that's a faux pas. I know you're not supposed to see the dress, but are you supposed to? I don't think you're supposed to see any of this. Right?
I think it's more with the dress. I don't know
no,
about
if it's like,
the wedding.
if this is like an unbelievable pair of, you know, Jimmy Choo's, like that's something you want to surprise with, right? Like you don't want, I mean, you want the whole thing to be a reveal, right? So number one, if she's
Yeah.
done that, bad job by her. That's just that's wedding newbie mistake number one, right? Like that's you shouldn't have done that, right? But that's fine. Like we can move past it. We can get past it. You know, it's not going to ruin her wedding, but I think I would have added, you know, a little bit of a special, you know, element to that. However, she's saying now read this back to me. She said it's 3 to 4 inches taller
It,
than him.
the only problem is they'd make me about 3 to 4 inches taller than my fiance.
Okay, 3 to 4 inches. Again, this gentleman is 5'5.5", right? Now he has uh, uh, he's going to be wearing some sort of a nice, you know, kind of a dress shoe, right? Which is going to give him that extra half inch, right? So, you know, kind of again, just for the most part, he's rocking, you know, something, you know, some kind of fancy. I assume, you know, I mean, if she's in the Jimmy Choo's, I assume, you know, they're not just going casual. Like this will be, you know, kind of a nice, you know, nice event. So he's going to be 5'6". She's going to be at least 3 to 4 inches taller than him, which is puts her at 5'9" or 5'10". At 5'3", this is like a 7-inch heel. I don't even think that exists.
I don't
Like
think so either.
mathematically, I literally don't think that exists. That's a
I'm trying to
7-inch
find
heel.
like the largest Jimmy Choo heel, and I can't really find one
A
that's.
6-inch heel is insane. Like that
I
is
don't
an
know.
incredible. That's like putting a platform shoe on the back of your heel. You know, but I'm talking like the actual. I'm talking like the 1990s, like Spice Girls, like when that was in vogue, like the Spice Girls level platform shoe that they used to rock in London that I saw when I went over there when I was young, like that level heel, but just on the back of your shoe. Like I look, I don't know if you've ever been in the mountains, but like when you go to the mountains, right, and you're driving down, and they say, you know, like they tell trucks, right, they tell these like big trucks, hey, there's like a really steep grade, right, which just means like it's a steep hill, right, and so they're like, you know, put the chains on your tires and do all this stuff so that you don't have a runaway truck. Right. Yeah, and I'm talking, these are like Amazon trucks and stuff that are bringing all this, you know, bringing all this stuff that everybody's ordering in COVID, all that, like they're going down the mountain and, you know, I mean, it's like, you know, it's this, right? And so they're like, slow down, basically. That's what this is, right? Now, the steepest I personally have ever seen is an 8% grade in the mountains, which is incredibly steep. Like when you're sitting up there, it basically looks vertical, right? Like it looks like you can't see anything at the bottom. This lady is not going to be able to see her toes. Like that's how steep this shoe is. Like she's literally not going to be able to. So this doesn't even make any sense. Like I don't know what her grandmother did to these Jimmy Choos, but it seems like she added something to it. This is like a normal 4-inch heel, right? 3 or 4 inch heel, something like that, like kind of fancy. And then her grandmother just went in there and she went like 19th century cobbler on it and just like jammed an extra 2 or 3 inches on the bottom of this heel. Like this doesn't even make any sense. So like I don't even fundamentally understand. I haven't even gotten to this lady's question, right? Like we haven't even addressed the very core of this question, where I have some real problems with what she said so far. But just logistically on this shoe, I fundamentally don't understand what this shoe looks like. Have you been able to find anything on this Jimmy Choo?
I'm going to be honest. I'm a little confused too. I did some very basic Googling, and I'm going to admit that I don't know a lot about luxury shoes. But according to eBay, the high heel shoes are classified as 3 to 3.9 inches for Jimmy Choo. So that's 4 inches. The mid is 2 to 2.9 inches. And when I looked up like one of the more, I'm looking at some other, and you have to forgive me because I'm having to convert millimeters to inches because I'm an American.
Wait, hold on. They do. This is you're looking at like United States eBay. At United States eBay,
yeah, I am. But then I was
millimeters?
Googling some other things to verify, like from the actual website, and it is given in millimeters. So it's been a little slow. But yes, the one that I looked up and is the shoe I'm most familiar with when I think of Jimmy Choo is 3.9. So it's not even 4 inches.
So,
but I am looking.
So just the basic Jimmy Choo doesn't even match like her fundamental, like her just like average heel, right? Because again, like we figured out, her average heel is like she's just rocking on a normal basis like a 4-inch heel. Like this woman's hips
They
are going
do
to
have, they do
shred-
have, I'm
shredded.
trying to look up, there is, I'm looking now, there is like a 4.9 or 4.7 inch, so a 120 millimeter shoe. It could be that one.
That doesn't look.
But you're
I don't
still
think the
under
shoe
5.
exists. Like here's at the end of the day, her grandmother is not giving her like a like if you buy like an old sports car, right? Like when somebody buys like an old sports car, or like a hot rod or something like that, they want to have the original parts, right? Like that's kind of a big deal, right? Like so you have like the original parts and things like that. In theory, that's what you would want with this shoe, right? Like I'm going to give you an original Jimmy Choo. That's not what's happening here. I don't think there's a 7-inch heel. I don't think it exists. Think about, she's 5'3". Her feet aren't even 7 inches long. Her foot isn't even going to fit in the shoe. If her toes are at the front of the shoe, she's not even going to reach the back of the shoe. She's going to look like a little girl in her mother's heels. That's what it's going to look. If that's a 7-inch heel, she literally will not reach, because that's 7 inches plus the bottom. Like this is the Pythagorean theorem. I'm just talking literal mathematics. That's not going to make any sense. Her foot is not going to fit in a 7-inch heel. So I don't understand what her question is. I don't understand where she's coming from. This doesn't make any sense to me. And I still haven't even addressed her actual question yet. Like I'm still not even to her actual question yet. But it sounded like you still have like actual, like there's still more to this.
Yeah,
there's
definitely more to the question. I am also, when I read it, I was a little confused as to the actual height of the shoe that she was given. You can customize Jimmy Choo shoes. I think you can get like 4.5, almost 5-inch shoes. So, and I don't know, like, is she giving the measurement for her fiance when he wears shoes at 5.5? And then so
it doesn't matter. Even if he's not like we basically have to pretend that this shoe exists, because I literally don't think that this shoe exists. So like, no matter how she's measuring him, unless she's measuring him sitting down or something, if he is in a vertical position when she's measuring him, no matter what sort of parameters you put on there, we literally are just going to have to pretend that this shoe exists, because fundamentally I don't understand how it works. Like I honestly don't believe that the shoe exists, but I have to basically pretend that this is like saying that like Iron Man exists. Like I basically just have to be like, all right, whatever. Like I'll just pretend that you're right, even though I think you're a liar, right? So like I already think this woman is a liar, because that doesn't make any sense. Like these measurements don't make any sense. It's very possible that she doesn't know how big an inch is. So she's like, it's 3 or 4 inches, but she's like, maybe she's thinking millimeters, or centimeters or something like that, right? Like, so maybe she's doing the conversion to the back, in the wrong way. But like, in order to actually answer her question, we just have to pretend this shoe exists, because I don't think it does.
Yeah, I think we just have to move on from that part. I'm sure there's some exaggerating going on. Weddings are very high stress. So it probably feels like 3 to 4 inches when the reality is 1 to 2, probably more than her.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Which I can see. That one makes sense to me. Like she's,
so maybe it like,
at the end of the day, she's gonna wear these Jimmy Choos and she's gonna be taller than her fiance. Great. I understand. Yes. 100%.
And it sounds like she's comfortable with being 1 or 2 inches taller, but then if you get to 3 or 4 inches taller, that becomes more of a thing for her personally. And she goes on to say that. She says, I know it wouldn't matter to a lot of people, but I can already hear all the annoying comments that people will be making about me being taller than him. When we first started dating, a lot of people would say things like, oh my God, I can't imagine dating someone under 6 feet. You guys are like the same size. I've heard this before too. Like although what I've heard is either 6 feet or 6 figures. So, that's that's a very important.
As long as I have more money, I'm with you.
Yes. So the 6 feet is a very important threshold for a lot of people.
Wait, I don't understand. Hold on. People are telling this woman that this guy should be at least 6 feet tall? Like whoever she's married?
That's a common thing. Like that
She's
is.
5'3".
I know.
She's fine. Like it's not like she's 5'9". She's 5'3". She's got a lot of room before this guy is 5'5". He's already taller than her.
Two and a
Like, yeah,
half inches taller.
I get the rest of it, but like that's a substantial height difference. Like they are not the same size. I don't understand that part at all. Like they are literally not the same size. If he was also 5'3", now all the rest of this math starts to make more sense. And I'm like, all right, I kind of get it. Maybe, maybe let's bump it up and let's get somebody who's like, 5'7" or something like that. Like I'm fine with that. But for people to tell this small woman, and I mean, when I say small, like she's probably like kind of normal height or whatever, but like she's not above average in height. So for somebody to tell her like you have to have somebody who's 6 feet tall, that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. That is a ludicrous thing to say to somebody. That's
yeah.
stupid.
I don't even think that men's average height is like I think men's average height is
like 5'9". Yeah,
5'9", 5'10", and the average woman's is like 5'5".
Yeah.
So it's a little bit taller than her,
this doesn't make any
but
sense.
they're
Her
both
friends,
below.
I don't understand what her friends are talking about. Like her friends who are giving her this advice, it makes no sense. But anyway, okay, so continue.
It's a common one, and so
okay.
She's not unique. Like I literally know people who will not date someone under 6 feet.
Okay, all right, which is fair. I mean, like, look, do whatever you want to do, right? I don't have any problem with that. Like, you put whatever, like, you could be like, you know what, if you don't part your hair correctly, I'm not going to do it. Like, that's fine. Like, do your thing. And I'm not even being like, make sure that you are getting whatever you deserve. No, like, you like what you like. That's fine. But for somebody to tell someone that it will only not look ridiculous if you are 5'3" and you are with someone who is 6 feet tall, that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Like, that is so far. That's 9 inches. That is 9 inches. That's like $1.50 bills stacked on top of each other.
Do you always think in dollar bill increments?
Well, yeah, because it's like 6 inches, right? So, like, I mean, that makes sense. That's 9 inches. That is such a big difference. That's such a big height gap. It's massive. But anyway,
yes.
Continue with whatever this lady is saying.
So she's I guess anxious about how potentially awkward the wedding photos will look if she's towering over him. Her actual getting down to her question now. I'm thinking about asking him to wear platform shoes or inserts for his shoes to make him taller. But I'm worried he might be offended or feel like I don't like him for him. But I'm also afraid if I don't wear the shoes, it might hurt my grandma's feelings. I'm not getting the vibe that she's really worried about hurting her grandmother's feelings. I think she really wants to wear the shoes, but I'm the first granddaughter to get married, and this wedding is a huge deal for her. My fiance is very comfortable and confident with himself and his height now, but I know he was made fun of for it in the past, and I'd hate to be the reason those feelings come back for him. So would I be an asshole if I asked him to wear either, it sounds like platform dress shoes or inserts?
All right, first of all, I don't think that you can buy an insert that's 4 inches tall. Like that, I'm not sure this woman has ever purchased a pair of shoes before. It's not like a go-go gadget shoe that you can just take the tongue and just move it up 4 inches. Like, that's not how shoes work. So I don't think she can just ask him to wear a 4-inch lift in his shoes. I don't think his foot will fit. I fundamentally don't believe that his foot will fit. So number one, no, you can't ask him to, like, you can't ask him to wear an insert because he's just not going to be able to wear shoes. Like, you just won't be able to put his foot in the shoe. So that doesn't work. Number two, a platform shoe. Think about how thick your heel is, or like the sole of your shoe, right? Like if you're wearing a sneaker, whatever, it's like 1/4 inch or something like that, maybe 1/2 inch, whatever. She wants him to be 4 inches taller. That's like stacking the soles of 8 shoes, of 8 sneakers on top of each other, and then walking around like that's normal. that's going to draw a massive amount of attention because people are going to look down. Everybody always looks at shoes. Like, that's one of the things, right? Like, if you're going to go somewhere, make sure your shoes are shined. Everybody always looks at that, right? That's why when people see me, they're like, this guy's a hobo, right? Because I wear these shoes. I have shoes. I got holes in them, like all that stuff. People are like, this guy is probably homeless, right? Probably lives in a train of some sort because people notice shoes. So you're going to say, like, hey, everybody, I know the spotlight is on us, and we don't want you to make a huge deal out of this, but then we're going to stick a 4-inch sole on the bottom of this guy's shoes while everybody's eyes are on him so that we won't make it awkward. That is a terrible plan. Like, neither one of these is a good solution, right? But to answer her question, where she's saying, can you ask? Yes, absolutely. You can ask whatever you want.
Her actual question at the end is, would I be an asshole if I asked versus can I ask?
No, you wouldn't. Well, actually, I take that back. She would. Reason being, if she had been honest with him at the very beginning of their relationship, and by the way, I'm not bagging on her. I'm just listening to what she's saying. And the way I'm interpreting this is she's been lying to him the entire time. And he's probably been lying to her as well. She must have said, I don't know, 7 times in this thing that it's not a big deal that they have this height difference and they don't care and it's a whole thing. And yet she's going to do all of this in order to change the way that they look. Why would she care? If she honestly didn't care, why would it matter what the wedding photos look like? Why would it care? If it's not a big deal for them, why would it matter? It wouldn't. That's the answer. The answer is it would not matter. And so this woman is still like subconscious. I'm not saying she's consciously doing this. I'm not saying like she's a bad person or anything, but subconsciously it still bothers her. Like, she obviously still wants her husband to be taller than her, which, by the way, he is taller than her. And I don't know what to tell you. Like, this dude is objectively, well, I don't know. This lady doesn't really understand measurements, but like, I'll just believe her. He is 2.5 inches taller than her. So this man is taller than she is. And yet she's like, well, it's not a big deal. The height's not a big deal, but I want to be taller. That, you know, I don't want to be taller, and there'll be comments, and there'll be, if it didn't matter to you, you wouldn't be asking this question. That at the end of the day, like, it would not have crossed your mind to ask him to wear lifts. I don't know, Jesus, I'm seriously, a 4-inch lift. Like, that is such a ludicrous, you are asking, you're going to have to actually make a 4-inch lift. Like, you can't go buy that retail. You have to, she's going to have to make a 4-inch lift. That is not something you can order on Amazon. Amazon has everything. And you're going to look up 4-inch lift on Amazon, and it's not going to exist. Because people are going to be like, why would you want to put a 4-inch lift in your shoe? Because your foot's not going to fit. So you're going to have to invent a product in order to get this guy to be the same height as you. And by the way, that's assuming that she doesn't want him to be taller than her in these wedding photos. If she wants him to be an inch taller than her, she's going to have to make a 5-inch lift. Or he's going to have to wear shoes that have 5 inches of sole on the bottom of them. That doesn't make any sense to me. Like, think about that.
My question though is do you think that it's genuinely something, the fact that their height difference, is it something that she's genuinely irritated with, or do you think that she's more worried about what other people are going to say? And yes, I realize that, yes,
Yeah.
you're worried. If you're worried about what other people are saying,
100%.
then
100%, absolutely, because she obviously, part of her is gets her self-worth from how other people perceive her relationship, right? And who she is standing next to. And she obviously wants other people to not make comments about the fact that he is shorter. So that is an insecurity that she has. By the way, probably an insecurity that he has too. If this is coming up, it's probably an insecurity that he has as well. But I don't know, because I don't have enough information about him, right? So if he actually is over that, then he's not going to care. He's going to be like, I don't care what our wedding photos look like. Yeah, I'll be shorter than you. That's fine. I'm only 5'5". Like, what are you going to do? I'm 5'6" in these shoes. You're 5'10" somehow because you have this like magical heel that doesn't exist. Whatever. Like, he's not going to care. So obviously, part of her is taking self-worth from how other people are perceiving her, right? And she's like, well, I don't want the comments, or I don't want whatever. Great, then tell your friends. Then just tell them, like, hey, I get it. Like, that's not a joke that we're okay with. Just tell them that. And by the way, if they're your friends, they'll stop making that joke. I mean, that's it. Like at the end of the day, she obviously cares about it. Like, this is obviously something that affects her, no matter how many times she protested and said, we're okay and we're fine and we're all these things. She obviously cares about it. Is she going to be an asshole by asking him? Yes, because she has not been honest with him about this entire time. She's not, because obviously part of her is affected by it. If she had been honest about that and said, hey, by the way, I am self-conscious because you're little, you are going to be shorter than me in this and all these things, then he, being someone who she says is over his height thing, will be totally fine by saying, hey, you know what? I want to help you. I want to do whatever. Or he'll say, hey, you know what? Who cares what everybody else thinks? Who cares? And that's the type of partner you want to marry anyway, right? So this whole thing is her attempt to hide the fact that she actually is bothered by the fact that he's not, I guess, 6 feet tall or whatever. Like, I still don't understand that. I mean, I get your thing. I've never actually heard that saying. It's kind of a funny thing, but she's obviously bothered by that, and that's what makes her an asshole. It's not her asking. It's the fact that she hasn't been honest with him about that as of yet. If you're going to get married, that's something you should have talked about with your spouse at some point. I don't know. What's your take? Do you think she's going to be an asshole? Do you think?
I think that the point you brought up within the wording of the question. So, like, is she going to be a little bit of an asshole for asking? Probably. He's probably, if it was something he was made fun of at any point in his life, and then his fiance is bringing it up about their wedding, it's probably going to affect him a little bit. Like, even if it's not, he's maybe not going to lose any sleep over it, but it's going to make him think about it for, if they go out, for the rest of their life. But the point you read up, like, can she ask? That's the difference of whether or not you're going to be an asshole. You could, with your spouse or your significant other, you could be an asshole and still, like, you can definitely ask that question. Like, there's going to be times where you ask things that you genuinely don't think, like, this one's a little bit more, yeah, you're probably touching a nerve on some, childhood trauma he went through. So yeah, you're probably more clearly an asshole. There's gonna be times when you ask things of your partner or your significant other where you're an asshole and you don't realize it, because that is a very unique thing. People find asshole things unique. There are definitely things that I do. I don't think I'm an asshole for doing it. And I've been told by several family members I'm definitely an asshole for doing it. And I'm probably not going to stop doing that thing because, they're my family members, and, at some point, or they got to, like, accept that that's kind of who I am. But it's even more important with your partner, because if you don't ask questions like this, or you don't bring it up, you have exactly what you're talking about how, okay, they've been together for 3 years, and it doesn't sound to me, and I could be totally wrong, that they've sat down and talked about this before.
Literally,
like, does it make you feel like shit when I'm, like, taller than you? Like, I get insecure about it, like, I don't know, like, that wouldn't necessarily be something I would ask about, but I don't know if I've ever thought about it. I mean, I'm average height, so, like, 5'5", 5'5.5", so I'm sure in heels I probably am taller than most of the guys I've dated are probably 5'9", 5'10", maybe like 6 feet. Like, there are some shoes I have worn, because I have worn 5-inch heels before, where I'm, like, basically the same height as, like, most or taller. I've never thought about it a lot, but I don't know,
But that's the thing. It's not about.
I just don't know. I've ever thought of it. That's not a drastic height difference to me. That's not like a 6 or 7 inch height difference.
No, but you're not, like, but it's not about you, right? Like, it's not, I mean, like, I totally understand your perspective, which makes sense, right? Like, because I've never thought about that either, right? But I've always, like people that I've dated have always been shorter than me, right? And then even in heels, they've still been shorter than me. So, like, this has not been a problem, right? But just because we haven't thought about it, if you are thinking about it, like the takeaway is, if you're thinking about something like this, you should be talking to your partner about that. Right? Like, if you have insecurities, those are the types of things that someone you're going to get married to should know about, and you should talk about, and they should help you through those things. At the end of the day, this woman actually, you know what? I based on what you're saying, which I totally agree with, I'm actually going to change she's going to be an asshole if she doesn't say this, because these are the types of things that she needs to get out, and she needs to talk about with her, with her fiance, because that's what a partnership is, right? Partnership is going to be you and him together, theoretically forever, and you're going to have these types of tough conversations. So this is something that she should be asking, and they should have already talked about it anyways, but they need to talk about it now, because that's just helpful practice for when there's an actual real situation. Like, this isn't a real situation, whatever. She's going to be taller than him in some pictures. Like, who cares? It doesn't matter, right? But there'll be things in the future that like actually matter, right? Like actual conversations where like she has an insecurity about something that actually matters, or he does. And if they don't have the ability to discuss those things, then they're screwed. Honestly, they're screwed. So they need to have this conversation.
My next question is, I just thought of as you were talking. So she's just asking if she's an asshole for asking. So I do think that this is, at least she's empathetic enough in a situation to not be telling him he has to wear platform shoes or lifts, because I do feel like that sounds a little bit more like a bridezilla move, is to just tell her fiance, you're going to do this. If he says yes, or, or no, if he says, no, I don't want to do that, and it becomes like a thing, like, or, like, how do you, I guess I'm not framing this question well at all, but I was just thinking about, I cannot tell by the way she phrased this, like, if she did ask and then he said no, how would she respond? I mean, she's in the same position that she's in now, except
that's like that's my point, right? Like, she says she doesn't care. She wants to ask this question. She obviously cares. So she's obviously going to have a negative reaction if he says no. Like, at the end of the day, she's lying to herself. She's trying to make herself come across as a good person. And again, I'm not saying she's a bad person. I'm saying she's trying to hide her motives. Her motives are, she's going to feel bad if she is taller than him in this picture. That is something that bothers her, and she will be bothered if he says no. That's something they have to work through. She can't force him to do that, right? He's a grown human being. She can't force him to do anything. That's the kind of thing that she is going to have to, she's going to have to figure out how to get over. He's going to have to figure out how to get over, and they're going to have to figure out how to work together to get over that. And again, that's what I'm talking about. That's the type of partnership. That's the type of thing that happens in a partnership that makes it a successful and strong partnership in the future, right? And at the end of the day, these are the types of conversations you have to have, where she goes, I'm going to feel terrible if you don't wear these shoes. And he's going to say whatever he says. And if he says, I don't care, then that's a make or break moment right there. And that's something you should know today and not 50 years from now, right? Or 10 years from now, or 5 years from now. Like, that's something you should know today, because that's the type of stuff that you have to work through when you're in a marriage. When you're in a partnership, that's the type of stuff you have to work through. That's the difficult conversations you have to have. So she will be an asshole. Yes, she's an asshole for asking, because she didn't say any of this in the past, which is obviously a problem for her. And she will be an asshole if she doesn't ask. So she's kind of, it's kind of a no-win situation for her. But she'll be an asshole if she doesn't, because this is the type of thing that you have to talk about with your partner. This is the type of thing you have to talk about in a marriage. That's the whole point of getting married. You're going to be with somebody when you have these stupid insecurities, right? And again, like, good for you having insecurities. Everybody has insecurities. I have insecurities too. I'm saying they're stupid because we all know that. It doesn't mean they're going to go away. But this is the type of thing that they have to work through. So honestly, she's being an asshole either way, and that sucks for her. But at the end of the day, if this guy agrees to wear them, I don't think it's going to work. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think there's a shoe that's big enough for this. I just don't. I don't think there's a product that is going to satisfy her. He's going to have to wear like a 7-inch platform, and everybody's going to notice. And if you think there's not going to be comments, you're a moron. People are going to be commenting immediately. He's going to be standing at the altar. Think about that. He's going to be standing up there, and everybody's going to come in, and they're all going to sit down, and they're going to look up there, and they're going to be like, why is the bottom of that guy's shoe so long? And everybody's going to talk about it. Like, that's going to be the talk of the wedding. Doesn't matter what else you have. You can have Michael Bublé come in and serenade everybody individually, and people are going to be like, yeah, great, Bublé, awesome. Have you seen this guy's shoes? Have you seen the size of this guy's shoes? And Bublé's going to stop his song, and he's going to look over, and he's going to go, what the hell are you wearing? I don't understand what's happening right now. If you wear a shoe this big, that is going to be the talk of the wedding. Like,
that was
I don't think they should do this, but this is going to be a problem. This is going to be an actual problem.
I guess I was a little also confused. Like, these are their closest friends and family. They all know how tall this guy is.
Yes.
It's going to look unnatural for him to be even 3 inches taller than he normally is. It's going to be obvious. Like, they're all going to notice, whether, even if you brought it down to like a more practical lift. And I don't know, I tried Googling, and I guess there are some dress shoes that kind of hide. You can get like, maybe I would say like 1.5 inches without someone necessarily noticing.
She's asking for literally.
I know what she's asking for. I'm bringing it down to like a reasonable whatever, like in dress shoes, maybe you can get 1.5 inches and it might normalize like her and her shoes a little bit, but they're never, if she's planning on wearing, like, let's say these Jimmy shoes are even 5.5 inches tall, they're not, she's going to be taller than him and still make it look normal. I mean, this dude has also never walked in heels, and I can't imagine that's going to look very natural, him like clobbing down the aisle in like platform shoes, like I just, that's the other thing is like, it's not even standing up there. Him walking in that is going to be a problem, and to me, it's not.
Honestly,
like, I'm like shocked that it's that big of a deal, but I guess I understand, like, this is obviously like a mutual insecurity that they have not addressed.
No, look, I think this woman needs to. I'll end it on this. I think this woman needs to contact us because I will pay someone my money, my own money, to have them cobble together a shoe in which this gentleman is like, I guess 7 inches taller than he actually is, as long as I get to be there when the two of them have their first dance, because they are going to fall all over the place and I am going to laugh my ass off. If this woman sees this and if she contacts me, I will absolutely pay for that myself, as long as I am able to see them attempt their first dance, because there is no chance that they're going anywhere. They are going to look way worse than any middle school, first dance, whatever, because he's going to be standing, exactly to your point. He's never walked in a platform before. He's going to be standing on 7 inches of platform, and the heels of her feet are not even going to be reaching the back of her shoe. So I will pay money to see the two of them dance like that and look how ridiculous they are. And then I will start all of the comments that everybody will be talking about, because that is an insane thing to think that you should be doing for your wedding. I don't know. That's my takeaway. I think this is dumb, and I support it. I think they should go for it. I think she should force him to do it, and I think it will make for a very unique wedding, and I think it will be memorable. And I think everybody in their friend group will have nothing to do except talk about this wedding for the next 2 or 3 years. Every conversation will be about this wedding for 2 or 3 years. At 100%, absolutely.
I completely agree. To summarize, you do think she's an asshole for asking her fiance about wearing lifts or platforms, but it's a conversation that she should have anyway.
Correct. And
for other reasons, yes.
Correct. And they also should do it.
Yes. Okay. Because for your benefit, more so than anything to do with their relationship.
I don't care about them. I want to see him walk around like a baby giraffe and her to look like a little girl, and them just fall all over each other on their first dance, assuming that this was a good solution to the dumb problem that they've created for themselves. At 100%, absolutely.
I guess welcome to relationships.
Absolutely. And that is episode 1 of Your Relationship Sucks. So come back, episode 2. We'll have another question. You'll get more of my wisdom, and you'll get more of your much more reasonable.
Yeah, I was going to say common sense is what I was going to call what I have.
Look,
what I'm bringing to the table.
I think I won the first one. We'll see how you do on the second one. I think I won that first
I'm sure you do think that.
one.
Oh, wait, hang on. I'm just gonna